What's going on, guys? WandaVision is officially over. This video is going to have some spoilers on the last episode, so be warned now. The end credit scenes of the finale showed Wanda reading the Darkhold and her hearing her kids yelling out to her. So today I want to take a look at how Wanda ends up getting her kids back in the comics. And there's a number of things from the story that tie into WandaVision. But first, let me know what you thought about the show in the comments. So getting into how Wanda finds her kids, similar to how WandaVision ended, the House of M ended with Wanda basically having no kids again. In WandaVision, she warped reality on a very localized area. The House of M story was on a universal scale. People got killed, 98% of mutants lost their powers, so there's a lot of people who were real mad at Wanda. And after Wanda changes everything back, she just disappears. She's not seen again for years. And a lot of people just kind of assumed that she died while reversing her magic, and that her two kids just ceased to exist because they were made from Wanda's magic and never really real kids. Similar to WandaVision. And this whole story takes place in a comic run called Avengers Children's Crusade. It's a great story, and I'm going to be trying to summarize this 9 or 10 issue story all in one video, so I'll be leaving out a lot, and I'll make sure I'll get all the main points about Wanda and her kids. So the story opens with the Young Avengers, which includes two twin brothers, Tommy and William. And if I would have guessed, they're probably around like 16 or 17 years old at this point. Tommy has super speed and silver hair, just like Quicksilver, and he goes by the name of Speed. William has the ability to warp reality, much like Wanda, and William goes by the name of Wiccan. And the two of them, for most of their lives, didn't even know that they were brothers, because they were raised by different families. They only found out they were brothers once they joined the Young Avengers team. And after they meet, they start piecing it together that they might be Wanda's kids. But no one else thinks that this is possible. I don't know why, it seems super obvious. Anyway, the Young Avengers are fighting a terrorist group in New York, and during their fight, the main Avengers team shows up for backup. But one terrorist has a bright idea to blow up the whole city with a nuclear bomb, and none of the heroes are going to be able to stop the terrorist in time before he detonates the bomb. And they see a giant flash of light. They naturally assume that they're all about to die, but when they come to, they see that all the bad guys are on the ground, and the Avengers don't really know what happened. But then they see that Wiccan has warped reality and put all the terrorists into comas. You'd assume that the Avengers would be happy that Wiccan just saved millions of lives from a nuclear explosion. But his display of power really just freaks the Avengers out more than calms them down. Because now they're worried that these two kids might actually be Wanda's kids. And they're scared about having such a young kid with such incredible powers that they could blow up an entire planet with just a thought. So the Avengers ask Wiccan to move into the Avengers mansion so that they can run some tests on him, have Doctor Strange talk with him. Wiccan isn't happy that they believe that he could go all crazy like his mom, but eventually he does agree. But this stays pretty short, because good old Grandpa Magneto breaks them out and wants to take the kids to the European country, Transia. And in case you're new to comics, at this point, it's believed that Magneto is Wanda and Quicksilver's father. So the group teleports to Transia. And the reason why they went to Transia is because this is where Wanda and Quicksilver were born. I think this is where Wanda went at the end of WandaVision. When you see her in that little cabin in the mountains, it's either going to be Transia or Sokovia, which is like the MCU's version of Transia. In the comics, those mountains is where the demon Chthon is trapped, who wrote the Darkhold. So it might be leading up to Chthon being, the villain of Doctor Strange 2. I still think it could be Mephisto or Nightmare still, but we'll see. But the Young Avengers just so happen to run into Quicksilver, who immediately gets into a fight with Magneto. And this is probably because he's still a little mad about the whole Magneto killing him in the House of M timeline. But during the fight, they actually see Wanda. Unfortunately, she's accidentally impaled by a wooden stake and dies. However, it turns out not to be Wanda, but a Doombot made to look like Wanda. For anyone who doesn't know, a Doombot is made by Dr. Doom, and they are these AI robots that look, act, talk, and think just like him. So obviously, when everyone's asleep, Wiccan sneaks out of the group and travels to Castle Doom. However, when he gets inside, he is met with a punch to the face, and when he looks up, it's the Scarlet Witch looking down at him, dressed up like a female version of Doom. But Wanda asks who he is, and his response is actually really important, because it tells what happened to Billy and Tommy after the House of M events. He tells her that he believes, after the House of M, his and his brother's body were either destroyed or simply disappeared, but their souls or essences remained, and that they went into the body of two random kids, and slowly they started to remember who they really were. He also tells Wanda that he's here to rescue her from Dr. Doom. Wanda tells him that she has no idea what he's talking about. It appears that she's suffering from amnesia, and she tells him that she's fine. In fact, she's great, because she's getting married tomorrow. When Wiccan asks to who, is when Doom busts in the room and says she's marrying me. And how does Dr. Doom respond to meeting his soon-to-be stepson? Well, he does what Doom does. He sets him on fire and tries to convince Wanda that he's just lying to her. But after Wanda leaves, Doom tells Wiccan that he knows who he is, but he needs to leave Wanda alone. Wanda needs to continue believing that she is not the Scarlet Witch, for the safety of everyone in the entire world. With her having no memories, her powers are basically being repressed. So he doesn't want Wiccan to make her remember that she's a murderer and go all crazy again. And Doom didn't plan any of this, it just happened. And then the two of them fell in love. And it's really interesting because throughout the story, it actually does look like Doom truly loves Wanda. And it makes sense. They both had pretty awful childhoods, both lost their mothers at an early age, and they both practice magic. What else do you need in a marriage? And the next day, they wake up, and Wanda comes to Wiccan in her wedding dress, and she wants to hear the rest of the story from Wiccan. Doom, of course, finds him again, and again he lights him on fire. And Wanda kind of puts it together that after Dr. Doom has attempted murdering a child twice, that he's probably hiding something, and Wiccan and Wanda escape. Wiccan again tries to explain to Wanda that she is his mother, and her mind is finally unlocked, and it is revealed that yes, Tommy and William are indeed Wanda's kids. Wanda and Wiccan are interrupted when the X-Men and the Avengers come, and they begin to fight each other over who's gonna punish Wanda. Wanda takes out both teams almost like immediately. Wanda, with the young Avengers, then teleports back to Dr. Doom's castle, which makes everyone think that, yeah, Wanda might be evil if she's going back to Dr. Doom. But she tells the group that Dr. Doom has been an ally of mine from the start. They go, what do you mean, the start? So before Wanda went all crazy and created the House of M universe, she went to Dr. Doom first to try to get him to help find her kids. And Doom explained that Wanda is a Nexus being. And we also saw this in WandaVision with that weird pharmaceutical commercial, which means the MCU is probably going to explain that Wanda is a Nexus being. And a Nexus being is a confusing concept. Most importantly, it makes Wanda hugely powerful. Nexus beings act as a focal point for energies in the universe. There's a Nexus being for each form of energy in the universe. But Wanda is definitely the Nexus being for all magical energy in the universe. So she has access, or at least is able to access, all the different forms of magic out there. So in theory, she could absorb all the magical energy in the entire universe, which would probably put her on the same level of power as like the Infinity Gauntlet. But Doom continues to explain that since Wanda is a Nexus being, Doom and Wanda attempted to capture the Life Force. Now, Marvel was pretty vague about what the Life Force is and what its powers are, but Wanda is able to capture it, and this pushes her powers to god levels. However, she's consumed and basically corrupted by the Life Force, and this is what made her mental state go over the edge, leading into the events of House of M. After the House of M, she purges herself of the Life Force, and she was found just wandering around near Doom's castle with no memories of what happened. After she gets done telling everyone that the Life Force is what drove her crazy and made her murder people, she then says that she wants to get the Life Force again, but to help people this time. Sounds like a foolproof plan. And Doom quickly agrees to help her. And they start doing the spell, and Wanda says that she wasn't able to complete the spell, but then enters God Emperor Doom, who has stolen the Life Force for himself. And this is what I meant earlier with Doom seeming to actually love her, because at this point he's already stolen all of her powers. But the first thing he does is ask Wiccan for permission to marry his mom. So if he didn't really love her, why would he still want to marry her after he already had what he wanted? And Wanda even says yes, but only if he rids himself of the power. And Doom might truly love Wanda, but there's one thing that Doom loves most in this entire world, and that's power. And he ain't about to give up this new level of god power. Eventually though, like the Scarlet Witch, the power of the Life Force proves to be too much for Dr. Doom, and he has to rid himself of it before it kills him. He lashes out at Wanda, basically ending their relationship, but that's how Wanda basically gets her kids back in comics. It's kind of funny because after all this happens, she basically spends no time with her kids. She essentially just abandons them. But that's going to put an end to this video. Hope you guys liked it. If you did, make sure you slap that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.